Hi, my name is Grace Provost. I'm a non-denominational reverend. I do what is termed Akashic Records readings. It's a form of psychic readings where everything that's ever been thought of, created, done, has been stored in the heavens, so to speak. It's like a grand library. It's all energy, of course. So I read energy. And so what I do is I also speak 4 ancient languages, and I use this to help me connect with the higher realms. And I'll hold his hand and I'll read him. And this is Earl next to me. And I'll be giving him an Akashic Record reading today. It basically tells you his past lives, how many lives he's lived, whatever questions you have. I can read past, present, future, and alternate dimensions. So any questions you might have may be great for what is your accumulation of what is really you. All your past lives have to do with the you now. And your soul is learning. It's just like coming to Earth is to go to school. It's our soul learning. So now we'll turn it over to Earl, and he can talk to you a little bit about himself.
Well, my name is Earl Snyder, and I have 7 years military service. I have 3 years in Central Intelligence. Then I went and became a full-time part of the Applied Physics Lab at Johns Hopkins University, where I worked for another 10 or 12 years. I actually worked as a contract engineer prior to being accepted on the staff there. Afterward, I was a staff assistant for the head of the mechanical engineering group. We basically were in the type and tartar weapon system and did research in that regard. We invented the over-the-horizon radar, which is now the only one in the world the Navy has. So, and I've lived on Maui for almost 40 years.
Awesome, that's fantastic. It's good to know you. So I'm going to go ahead and give you an Akashic Record reading, and we'll see what your past lives have to do with this life and what it has to do with your future.
Wonderful.
And then any questions you might have with that. So I'm going to hold your hand because that's how I read energy. Our left hand's always in, our right hand's always out. So I'm reading you in your Akashic Records. So I'm just going to what I do is I have to click in, get my brain to work in a certain way, and then we'll read you.
Wonderful.
Earl, you're a very old soul. You've had 96,222 lives. That includes all your spiritual lives, your etheric lives, and your physical lives. Your soul was actually birthed in a different galaxy, not the Milky Way. The galaxy is the third from our great central sun. It's a galaxy MB22. You've traveled throughout many galaxies, learning different knowledge by seeing different civilizations. And yes, there are many human beings on other worlds besides this one. Physical lives total, 10,032. You have lived on other planets and other galaxies in the physicality. You entered our solar system 352,000 years ago. It was after Lemuria was created. Lemuria is an ancient civilization that the remnants of are here in the Hawaiian Islands. So you have a heart connection here, which is probably why you came to Hawaii, as many of us do. You were in the late period where it had just been destroyed, and so you were still a semi-etheric being. You weren't mortal like we are now. I would call you a higher dimensional being at that time. You were overseeing what was going on with Earth and deciding that you were going to help assist Earth in its journey to ascension. Your soul is very loving and of the light. You're a member of the Galactic Federation in high standing. I don't know if you know Ashtar, who is the head of the Galactic Federation, which is made up of many civilizations, the Arcturians, the Palladians, the Andromedans, the Sirians. I myself am what they term a walk-in from Sirius A. I am assisting Earth through the priesthoods that I hold and the knowledge that I hold. Most of the Galactic Federation here is benevolent and of higher standing in spirituality. They work with the spiritual hierarchy of not only Earth, but our solar system and galaxy. The soul known as, excuse me, as Jesus Christ is called Sananda, and he is overseer of all of that. Your first physical life was in the Antarctic. You know the ancient civilization there. You worked as a scientist, which is why you have a lot of information and knowledge of all these things today. Many of your lives have been in the scientific realm. You worked on Mars. You helped terraform originally Mars, and then when it went through a cataclysmic event, you were overseeing that as it occurred. You went to Venus as a school. Venus is considered like a college souls go to prepare for their incarnations on Earth and what's going to happen in their many lives, and kind of you plan out your whole life. You've been on Saturn, which is a 9th dimensional planet, and you've been on Uranus as well, which is a 7th dimensional planet, and Pluto, which is kind of a prison planet. You went to many of these planets and places to gain experience and knowledge and prepared for this life. Your first physical life was, as I said again, in Antarctic. You've had 12 lives there in many previous civilizations there. You came and served up in Brazil and Peru. You helped build Machu Picchu. You are tied in with the Mayans and the Aztecs as well. You have a lot of the ancient knowledge there, and you should return to South America and go to these places if you have a chance to, because you can connect with your energies there. You knew me there in my Mayan lives. We've had 92 lives together. Families coming together when we meet each other here. Lake Titicaca is a very important place for you. You worked with Ascended Masters there with a great golden sun disk. The Ascended Masters actually have an ancient site there underneath the lake. I believe the military knows about it at this time. That was a very important life for you. That knowledge will be used in the future. You'll return to Peru in the future as an ascended being. Yes, you are ascending to the higher 5th dimension. And take a lot of this knowledge with you when you go, and you're going to help Earth after the shift. Hashtar says hello at this time. You work on his ships a lot during dream time, helping with the ascension process and with the technologies of it. You have family on board. Your archangel is Michael, a warrior spirit, fellow military man, so to speak, with his sword. He is watching over your travels. Mother Mary loves you very much. You had a biblical life with Jesus as one of his brothers. Jacob, his name was Jacob, younger brother of Jesus. You know of his travels and his teachings. That was a life where you learned compassion and love for mankind because of all the things you experienced with Jesus' crucifixion and with the signs of the times back then. Judas says hello. Judas was actually not what they portray. He was actually a good guy. You knew Roman Emperor Nero in one of your lifetimes. You worked in Rome. You have knowledge of the underground facilities at the Vatican from a past life. In this life as well, you have some knowledge of it. You may not be aware of it, but you do. What is most important, you see, for your life at this time? Preparing for the ascension, for not only yourself, but you'll be bringing forth technologies that you've had in this life, actually to serve better mankind, preserving the air and water qualities, things like that. New, zero other technologies I shouldn't speak of. But they'll be coming forth in the future to help clean up the air and water and purification of earth and healing of earth. Be aware that you'll be ascending soon. You'll be changing. You'll be becoming healthier and younger, and many events are coming down on earth this year. So you'll be working with that. Is there any questions you have at this time?
Well, you've answered a lot of them.
Okay.
Well, I'm actually a bit staggered.
It's a lot of information to
by
get
that.
hit with at one time.
Right.
But it helps you kind of know your purpose, where you've come from, what makes you what you are now, kind of why sometimes people wonder, oh, why am I afraid of water? Because in a previous life you may have drowned. Or why am I so interested in Egypt? I got to know about Egypt, it's because you've had past lives there, that kind of thing. So Akashic Record readings can really help guide you in your life. The future is always changeable. So if you do ask something about the future, I'll try to pick one that seems the most direct course, but that doesn't mean it won't change at some time. Because consciousness is not just an individual thing, it's a mass thing. We're one with each other and everything. So kind of in flux. Right now it's flowing and going because we're in 2012 now and we're getting ready for the great shift.
Right.
So, but know that people who are interested in Akashic Record readings, or they're getting into healing modalities or psychic gifts or whatever it is, or massage, things that new technology that's coming out that's going to help you. It's going green. The whole Occupy New York thing is all part of it. Everything's
Right.
coming about. So this will help you.
Definitely feel everything you've said all fits together, particularly for now, because that's exactly
you
what
feel
I need to.
I think you feel the pull, the energy towards doing what your true mission is.
Right.
And a lot of people are waking up to that, going, "What's going on? Why the big change?" It's because since 1987, Earth has been receiving these waves of energies, and not that they haven't received them in the past, but so they've been so far apart in the past.
Right.
One civilization or one lifetime hasn't maybe felt one, if they're lucky, but now we're getting 2012. It's the end of the shift. It's the end of all the cycles of the Mayan calendars and other things all coming together.
Right.
And we're actually going to, if you're ready to up your frequencies, because we're all electromagnetic beings, we'll go with it. If you basically have a loving and kind heart, which is a higher frequency than fear, we'll be sending with Earth,
Right.
and going up into the higher dimensions.
Well,
And
there was one thing that we've just on 11/11/11, me and my friend went online for the purpose of finding a higher thing to lead us along or to have an experience with. And out of my mouth came type in mantra on the web. And so what happened was it took us to this particular site where mantras are sung and danced to and so forth, and they were led primarily by Yogi Bhajan. And so from that moment in fact, this was the day actually before 11/11/11. On 11/11/11, we memorized the words to a couple of mantras and their meaning. And since at that time, we've been listening to this mantra. We recorded it and play it back, and have experienced an enormous uplifting in our immediate environment. Obviously as a function of this mantra thing. And so I'm hoping to put that
meditation is excellent. Mantras. I have this one. It's just Ums by Tibetan monks, and it raises our energies, it raises our frequencies, it helps our DNA awaken, for one thing, and prepares us for our bodies to match the frequency of Earth as it ascends. So in a sense, we are helping ourselves ascend by doing such things.
Yeah.
Prayers, music, dance, art, all of that has, if it's positive.
Well, the thing is, I've noticed that we're basically encountering thought forms that are clearly not our own, and they simply come in. And I've found that this mantra, if you once you learn it and once it's playing, it kind of guards the space around you in a kind of a miraculous way. The thoughts still come in, but they can't get very close to you. They just kind of pass off, type of thing.
Yeah,
And the
well,
mantra is just this
that
like
aura.
golden aura around us in a way. And so anyway, I wanted to get that somehow started in the community
Right.
if possible.
Yes, the more we share, the better off we are. That's one of the whole purposes of us being here is we hold light of love and then share that around us with others. And then it's almost like, I don't know if you've heard of the 100th monkey effect.
Definitely
Which,
have.
where one monkey started doing something and passed it around, pretty soon the whole island was doing it. What was miraculous is the monkeys that were on a totally different island that had no connection physically with the other monkeys started doing it too. It's because we share one consciousness whole. And so our thoughts are very powerful. We have to be very careful and try to keep them positive and loving. That's why Jesus said, even love thine enemies. Because as you love your enemies, you change them to light. You open up their hearts, hopefully, and change them. A lifetime of
1967.
experiences changing, yeah. Me too. I started in 2001. It was Christmas and I was with my sister. And we had a lady there who used to speak an ancient language and we wanted to know what she was saying. So I talked to Jesus and sure enough I started speaking my own language and was able to translate what she was saying in ancient Atlantean, trying to warn us about HARP and different things, the different technologies that were dangerous for us today, saying no, because we could destroy Earth, and not having the spiritual wisdom how to use it correctly, or the beings that were using it didn't have the spirituality or they didn't care about humankind. So I found out I'm speaking ancient Sumerian, Egyptian, a little ancient Hebrew, and an extraterrestrial language I call Syrian, Anunnaki, whatever. And I speak them simultaneously, but they're from all my past lives. So and they're languages of light and the priesthood, so that's what I do with ancient ceremonies and things. And I use it, as you heard, during my readings. It helps me connect stronger with the Akashic Records.
Well, all this time I've been, in my own mind, I've been a fair witness was if there's such a thing as a title, I place that upon myself to describe or to explain why I'm drawn to these meetings of people where I don't know them or anything, but suddenly I'm involved in it, and I'm weighing what's going on. And if it's what I perceived in the first place, which was some kind of psychic thing, I assume, was the reason I became interested in the first place, was to see what it was and to tell the truth about it. And that kept happening to me, all little adventures.
That's what I do. I do little adventures, but I think there's many people waking up and wondering what's going on and having these little adventures, as we call them, experiences of wonderment. It's like, what's happening? But it's happening worldwide because of the energies that are happening. And we're expanding our DNA. We used to have 12 strands of DNA, and we used to be fully conscious. It means we used 100% of our brains. After Atlantis fell, we were taken down to 2 strands, basically turned into little slaves for the Anunnaki, and we lost most of our consciousness. But now the wavelengths are happening and expanding that. So now we're regaining knowledge and memories of our true selves and what's going on Earth and working to be at one.
Right.
Which is, you've had the same experiences too.
Well, I feel like there's some major entity or entities are involved now intimately in my life, whereas before I could sense that something's going on. We could never be sure. So, but now, within the past, I would say 6 months, I have noticed an absolute increase in the amount of power, in my own personal power.
Right.
I mean, little things that happen, like, just as an example, I was creating a cup of coffee, and I was going along, and we make special coffee, and it requires heavy whipping cream at the end to mix with it. But it takes almost a half a cup of heavy whipping cream to deal with this mixture of coffee. But at the final moment, I opened the coffee thing, and there was only this much cream in the bottom of the coffee thing. And I thought, I was already in a state of mild concern, I would put it, where I thought, oh, I made the coffee and what? And now I don't have cream with it? But I like black coffee. But anyway, something came over me, and I decided that that amount was enough, that it would work as well as a half a cup of cream. And I held that as I did the whole coffee thing, and it was like holding a thought, but it was a little bigger. It turned out that it was perfect. That it was like a little miracle. I created that cream.
Yeah.
And there, in my mind, that was the truth. I mean, I'm a scientist, for crying out loud. I know when I have a cream, it's not there.
Yeah, that's true. But we're finding out more and more that not only our thoughts, but our beliefs is what actually how we manifest things, because they're very powerful. People don't realize our thoughts, they can travel. They've actually done tests, scientific tests on thoughts and stuff, but it's now they know that our beliefs as well is what we create around us. So I like to think of us as, my sister used to call us little God thoughts.
Right.
And when the universe was first created 47 trillion years ago, that the creator of all things, that's how he expanded. He made these beings who would live and experience for him and feed him the information. So we're little God thoughts running around. So we're actually God.
Right.
A little particle of God is in us. We're all divine.
One of the things that caused me to leave the laboratory, I'm pretty sure, I'm not positive, but I was the engineer in charge of building the 60-foot dish antenna for the transit satellite injection. We injected information into the transit satellite, which was our offering to the Navy for their navigation purposes. And after we finally got this antenna built, I used to go in there and like hang out and while they were doing deep space work and stuff like that with it. And it occurred to me at one point there, I used to read science fiction as a child. It occurred to me that our thoughts seem to be faster than events. So the more I thought about it, the more I thought, there's something here. The speed of light is dash, and so I think the speed of thought is way over that speed. But at the time I couldn't put it together. But I mentioned that while having a conversation with the director of the laboratory. He liked me because I had a beard when I shouldn't have had. But anyway, from that moment on, I picked up that he didn't care for me as well, because I had introduced this concept of the speed of thought being something other than light speed.
Well, it is.
Well, it is.
A thought can go incredibly.
Well, it's over 27 times faster than the speed of light. So, and this, if you introduce this fact to a scientific body now, it's almost like saying that Hertz is a phony term made up by some people who put that little trip down into society just to let whomever realize that, yes, they're the guy who's slapping your face in the dark. He's the guy that is actually running things, and they're doing what they want to do. And so one of the things that they do is introduce things in society that shouldn't really be there, because these waves that are now named Hertzian are not. So that's called the Hertzian conspiracy now.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. We've got to wind up the show, but I wanted to thank you for your information. It's fascinating that the fact that you are a scientist and now you're getting into the metaphysical, you're changing your ways of thinking to improve yourself and mankind and the earth. And that once you know that in the future you will be bringing forth this knowledge and technology that you have. And I want to thank Pete for allowing us to come. And we'll end the show right now. Thank you.